Yes, hi again. It's me, Khachiyan, and today, still on air, and today I'm going to prepare the lecture regarding positional sacrifice. I actually played a couple interesting games with this theme, and the first game I'm going to introduce is my game from my pretty much recent tournament. I just finished a couple of days ago, and I played against my friend and always. Very good chess player, international master, Matikozian. So we play round 3, and situation was in tournament we both needed to play for a win, since it was a very short tournament, and the game became very exciting. So I'm white versus international master, Matikozian. Well, time to time, I'm coming back for this Rossolimo line in Sicilian defense, which very interesting line, by the way. In some positions, game is going to be pretty much positional. In some lines, game is going to be very sharp. So this time, I decided to go with pretty much one of the sharpest line in Rossolimo variation. Right here, I believe we have two very different way to play Rossolimo line. One way it's to play c4, when we're trying to build a type of position from Marozzi bind. Let's say if black continues at c6, white playing here d4, cd9, d4, and eventually white trying to complete development by making castle and then playing knight c3, moving the bishop by this diagonal, pretty much on e3, and knight goes on c3. So this is typically Marozzi bind set up without having light bishop, which is pretty much also okay. But this line is pretty much positional, and also I played already against Matikozian several years ago. I actually still won that game, but in fact, I was trying to play something new, and in my mind, I came for the round. I came for the game having different attitude, different kind of feelings to play this game, and I decided to go with let's say sharper line. So I went here first castle, c3. And right here, I went d4. This is probably one of the most sharpest line how to play, how to handle Rossolimo. White is going to sacrifice a pawn, and white trying to use advantage in the development and trying to simply build strong attack almost right away. So the best try here is knight d4, one of the best tries. As you see, black accept the challenge, and now it's going to be a real fight. So it's about if black will defend the position, they will remain with extra pawn and probably win the game. If they don't, then they will lose. So right here, I went knight x5 after some tells. Well, there is two moves here: knight e5 and rook e1. And new rook e1 is the main choice, but I wasn't sure what to do in this situation because, well, it looks like white have a pressure, and let's say if you go bishop g5 to create the pressure, because we have basically pinned by e file and pressure on f6 knight. I wasn't sure, let's say, for bishop g5 because he has queen g4, simply offering me trade of the queens, and if I accept the trade, then I don't think so white will have sufficient compensation. If I don't, then it might be another pawn hangs here on d5. In fact, I could play here c4, which seems to me pretty much strong move to defend simply the pawn and connect the queen to be in the queen side in the case, and after getting c3 square. From c3 he might jump on b5 or e4. Bishop will jump on g5. I think it is strong compensation here for sure for white. And I think that's the way I supposed to play. I mean, at least next time I'm thinking if I play this position, I will try to play this line, because it seems to me white having better chances to play this line in this position. So, but in a game, as I said, I wasn't really sure, and I decided to go more simple. I took only five, and I went here rook e1. Honestly, I expect move nanette f6, and I thought, you know what? If he goes there, then it's going to be transposition to my position, because nanette f6 is basically the same thing I expect. If you take a look on my move 9, if I play rook e1, black still could play nanette f6, and it's going to be the same kind of position. And I said, you know what? It's going to be the same thing. I kind of underestimate a situation here. When I went to rook nanette e5, I underestimate his move nanette d6. So, but this is a very strong move, and honestly, I played that move by myself a couple times, but in speeding chess. I haven't played this in a long term game. So I took on e5, g6. Yeah, this is the first moment. Obviously, I'm trying to target e7 pawn since it's right on the way of my rook. And I went here bishop g5. I'm not sure about how strong in this move. I could play something like knight a3 or knight d2, but it wasn't really like sound to me, and that's why I played most direct move, bishop g5. Castle queenside, that's what he made. So this is another very important position here. I've been considering here for my opponent to play even now knight f5 or maybe later, but I think this is the strongest move here to play knight f5. The idea is very simple: to defend e7 pawn by knight, and threatening to play bishop g7, and in case to escape to the king side if needed. So I think at knight f5, black holding almost everything, because I can't really like push g4, because every time I push g4, I need to have a deal with h6 moves kind of stuff, or let's say bishop g7 followed by h6. So let's say here he could play here to attack the rook. Let's go back and then h6, and then if I take gf hg, then definitely we're in trouble. So g4 not the move to make, too risky. And I don't know, seems like I have to play like knight a3 here or c4. But in both cases, black is doing okay here. I mean, it's going to be about equal position, because black will held d4 square for long time. All they have to do to take away the pressure from e7 pawn by playing h6, and they're fine here, absolutely. So knight f5 was the best try for black, my personal opinion. So in a game, Andranik went here castle queenside, which is kind of most direct move. He's trying to use now his kind of advantage in the development, because my d pawn is too extended. So rook e1, the only move to prevent f6 threat. White's e1 square, because it's a guarding back rank, and in fact, if you play rook e2, and then you always deal with queen g4 jumps, which is created pin situation and attacking the bishop. So it's not really convenient for white to play this position. So I think it's only move rook e1. Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about, most direct move, knight c4. Yeah, at this point, I actually, I mean, I saw knight c4, honestly, but I haven't really like really deep think about that move, because I really expect direction for the knight to stay on f5 stuff. So knight c4, since he played here, I thought a lot, because here it's really decisive moment. Well, here I've been thinking what to do, and after some, let's say, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes of thinking, I figured out this. So if I play slow, then I have nothing, and I might be stands even worse, because if I play here, then I mean he has at least like capture on d5, following by capturing on g5. So in every line, black simply stands much better. So, and by having almost no choice, I understood the only way for me to continue is to go b3. So, and when I saw this b3, not b6, honestly, obviously, I need to protect my d5 pawn, and I needed to play c4, and that's the position we're talking about. So honestly, I mean, obviously, I saw here bishop g7, and I knew I'm going to give up my exchange, right? But the thing how I came to idea to give up my exchange, to actually sacrifice my exchange, it's really position sacrifice because there is nothing concrete here. The reason why I did that, it's very simple. Knight of b6 has not really square to work on it. He's so much restricted. So I have very strong pawn chain, a2, b3, c4, d5. I have a target on e7. I have really black king on c8. It's not really a regular position for black king in Sicilian defense being on a queenside castle. And I saw this strong diagonal and possibility of having battery between my queen and my bishop. All these facts gave me inspiration to sacrifice my rook because I figured out this. His g7 bishop is supposed to be primary defender. And if I can't take care of this bishop by cost of my rook on e1, which is hard to find a job for my rook on e1 yet, so I figured out that will be normal because that's what I needed. So take care of the bishop on g7 and create some pressure by dark square. So my decision was pretty much positional. So knight d2. I've been at some point I've been considering knight a3 here, but then I figured out no, not on the 3, kind of no way. So it's supposed to be here because from d2 it's important I can jump on a4 and create pressure and maybe keep my eye on these squares. So black accept the sacrifice. Now, obviously, the best move here, f6, here, and g5. Again, probably the best try. Another thing is, after the game, we've been analyzing the position, and we came to a conclusion, an idea was interesting for black to play e5. So, difference between that move in the game and here, the g6 pawn on g6, not on g5. And let's say if white was sacrificed, then black has queen d6 move. Now a g6 pawn got f5 square, and now this endgame might be, I mean, it's better for white, but it could be drawish because the pawns are not on the dark squares. And in fact, the black could play even different way. I believe after the game we figured out the best move here was still g5 as happened in the game, but here black should play h5. They're trying to kick the bishop from diagonal. There is a couple moves here. I've been considering to play here f3, to be honest, and I thought f3 is a good move because in case of black attacking on the king side, I could switch diagonal and attack the c5 pawn because black's pawn is very weak, and even this pawn chain still very weak because light squares very weak become here. So I think it was the best try, but in any move, in any scenario, white having great compensation for exchange, and most important, they pushing. They have a great attack in any move. So after bishop g3, my opponent went here e5. That was his original expression. So he thought after e5 he's absolutely secure, because I can't take en passant since my knight hangs on d2. And when he was going for this position from the far, he expect here no problem, and he expect here just simply advantage for himself, for black. But that was the wrong expression because, like I said, I knew it has to be something because honestly, when I went for the position, when I sacked my exchange, I didn't calculate that deep. I only saw the pictures, the ideas. I haven't seen rook e5 move from the far because I only saw how I'm going to create my attack, and I only saw the ideas. And I knew since His king is weak since he has a dark, problem with dark squares, and the knight on b6 absolutely useless. I knew it's supposed to be something, and I just had the beliefs and I went for it. And in fact, that's what happened in the game. As soon as I was reaching my position around this area, when I played bishop f4, I already saw the idea which will happen in the game. So g5 here, I knew it's going to be e5. I had some kind of feelings, and on e5 I prepared this great move, rook e5. Yeah, now this game is almost over because now my diagonal is open. And now if black not take on e5, let's say if black goes, for instance, rook e8, then I could even take on e8 and then simply take on f6 because my back rank guards by my knight. He simply goes on f1 in case of e1 check. And still, black having problem with this diagonal, and still black king is very, very weak. So I believe after rook e5, black was in trouble, and after some thoughts, they decided to go f takes e5, queen takes e5. Well, now it's an important moment. How to deal, how to defend h2, b8 diagonal. So if you go bishop d6, the move which I prepare, I've been thinking about two things here, two moves here. First of all, I saw if I play queen d6, rook d6, bishop d6, it's going to be a better endgame for myself because he has still two targets on dark squares. I have two pawns for exchange and a very strong position. But in fact, I saw even better way. In fact, I saw here queen g5, amazing move. Now I'm picking up the third pawn and still keeping all my trades because the queen on d6 doesn't have any access to use the e file. And in fact, if they give up, let's say again diagonal, let's say they went queen d7, then back on e5, and now with queen d6, then I will accept this. And now I have 3 pawns for exchange, and that simply wins for me because passer, passer, and passer. So you can really deal with 3 passers, and I have a still long-range piece, the bishop itself versus his rook. So yeah, obviously this picture is very simple win for white. And if black goes rook g8, then I have this interfere move. I have very strong move queen g8 by myself. And now it's still game is over because black has no checks, black has no threats. And if they capture on g8, then after bishop d6, they still pretty much game going to be over in a few moves. So yeah, queen g5 was a very strong move, and that also has been missed in my opponent's calculation, according to his words. So yeah, after queen e5, black pretty much forced to play queen f7. Well, now immediately I saw I could have almost perpetual check by playing this. Let's say if he goes there, then I have this, and you know, rook h8 hangs. But I knew already my position is better, and typically I give always my students advice in most of the scenarios, in most of the cases, if attacking side, if better side has, let's say, easy draw by, let's say, making perpetual or threefold repetition, that means at some point they could play better. And that's why I have found this move almost instantly. I played right knight e4 because I figured out black doesn't have any improvement. Because if they go, let's say, rook e8, for instance, they e8 rook actually stealing the square from the own king, and I could play here simply here and mate. So he doesn't have a move. He doesn't have a square e8 for the rooks, and I have a big threat always to attack d6 square by knight at some cases. So besides, I have this still my strong diagonal. I mean, it's almost impossible to defend all these threats. It's amazing. White's down so much material. They sacrifice 2 rooks and they have just 1 queen and 2 minor pieces, but they still was able to build very strong attack. So in a game, my opponent went here and then at a8. And I saw this line again almost right away, so check. And now very nice chess geometry. Now we're switching the sides, and now on the Maradar, he's rook on h8. So game is almost over here already because almost any move is lost. Let's say if he goes here, I will pick up the rook first, then check back again, and finally this check, I could pick up this rook, and so I already will be ahead of the material. In the game, he went here, queen e5 check, queen e7, only move. And here my opponent went for last hope, last small trick. So he went here, king f8, in case if white player is not patient, could play queen e6, hoping to finish the game right away. Could be missed by queen e6, de, and mate. So obviously I saw that very quickly. And what I did first, I made a move check here. I made a check from here to control d1 square. And here my opponent design do, let's say, if you go f8 or g7 square, then knight e6 check, finish the game. If you go king g8, then I have this. And now he can go queen g7 because I will take on g7 following by knight e6 check. So he's supposed to go here. And then after knight e6, game is over because file is blocked. And my next move is bishop on e5. In fact, final position, it's amazing because knight on a8 until end of the game didn't came out. So my sacrifice, my position sacrifice was absolutely right because that's what I expect. I knew his knight will struggle to get back to the game. So at this point, what I did with cost of the rook for the bishop, as I mentioned before, I took away his knight from the game. And since I had some easy plan by playing by squares, I knew my decision is supposed to be fine, and I'm not going to have any trouble. So that's the first lecture I introduced you guys. I hope you like it, and I hope next time you'll be more brave and not to be scared to sacrifice some material for gaining some positional process. Because remember this. If you are in middle game area, if you're playing middle game and you believe at some point your minor piece actually getting better job than let's say major piece, that's simply go for it. Do it. Don't be scared. Good luck. We'll talk about this theme in our next lecture. Thank you. Have a nice day.